Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment, just one moment, where everything in your life begins to shift. And I believe with all my heart, this is that moment. You've cried, you've questioned, you've carried the weight of 1,000 disappointments, and still, here you are. Now listen closely, not with your ears, but with your soul, because what I'm about to say isn't just words. It's a whisper from something greater than both you and me. You were not born for pain. You were not born for fear. You were not born to live in quiet desperation, hiding your dreams behind doubt and delay. You were born with purpose. You were born with fire. You were born to shift the atmosphere when you walk into a room. You were born for this very hour. You were born with purpose and fire. That's not just a poetic phrase or a feel-good statement. It's a truth so deep, so raw, that when you truly understand it, it will shake the way you walk through life. Before the world told you what you could or couldn't be, before fear whispered its lies, before doubt crept into your heart, you had something sacred within you, a reason, a spark. You were not an accident. You are not the product of randomness. You were intentionally placed on this earth, in this time, for something only you can do. That purpose was not given to the strongest, the wealthiest, or the most educated. It was given to Yob, exactly as you are, with your voice, your history, your pain, and your hope. And that fire, oh, it's not ordinary. It's not the fire that flickers and fades with the winds of life. It is the fire that refuses to go out even in the darkest storms. It's the thing inside you that kept you alive when you wanted to give up. It's the silent strength behind your tears, the unspoken courage behind your quiet moments. It is the fire that speaks through your actions, that breathes through your resilience. Others may not see it, and that's okay, because it was never meant to impress. It was meant to ignite. It was never about shining for applause. It was about illuminating your own path through the wilderness. Sometimes life will try to bury that fire under disappointment, under rejection, under shame. People may try to dim it because it reminds them of the light they've forgotten in themselves. But no matter how long it's been covered, it cannot be destroyed. You can feel it right now, can't you? That small stirring, that quiet pull inside you. That's the fire. The same fire that made you dream when you were a child. The same fire that whispered, maybe, when everything around you screamed, never. The same fire that has kept you moving even with nothing left in your tank. Your purpose is not about being perfect. It's not about being fearless. It's about being God-willing, willing to show up, willing to try again, willing to believe that what's in you is greater than what's around you. That fire is not in you by accident. It's your compass. It will lead you, guide you, challenge you. It will push you to grow in the very places you once broke. It will ask you to become someone stronger, not by changing who you are, but by revealing who you've always been underneath the noise. You don't need anyone's permission to live with purpose. You don't need a title or validation or the perfect conditions. You just need to remember. Remember who you were before the world told you who to be. Remember the moments you felt most alive, most real, most yourself. That's the direction of your purpose. And that fire inside you, it's not waiting for the right time. It is the right time. When you were born, something new entered this world. A light that has never existed before in this exact form. That light is you. That fire is real. That purpose is calling. Your past does not define your future. It doesn't matter how many times you've fallen, how many mistakes you've made, or how many doors were slammed in your face. The past is a chapter, not the whole book. It is a part of your story, but it is not your identity. Too many people spend their lives imprisoned by memories, by regret, by guilt that was never meant to stay forever. They carry yesterday like a heavy coat, worn down by what they cannot change, and forgetting that every sunrise is a chance to begin again. You are not your failure. You are not your loss. You are not the version of you that didn't know better, didn't speak up, didn't walk away when you should have. That was a moment. This, now, is movement. You may hear echoes of your past in your mind. The words someone once said that made you shrink. The moments you wish you could erase. The silence that followed your cries for help. But hear this clearly, those things shaped you, but they didn't finish you. They formed your resilience. They carved out your depth. They taught you lessons you couldn't learn in any classroom. You have scars, yes, but scars mean healing happened. You have wounds, but wounds don't mean weakness. They mean you've lived, you've loved, you've lost, and you're still standing. That's not something to hide. That's something to honor. Your past can be a teacher, but it should never be your master. It can whisper wisdom, but it should never hold the pen that writes your future. You have more power than you realize to shift your story, to draw a line in the sand and say, that was then, this is now. You don't need to erase the past to outgrow it. You simply need to decide that it no longer gets to define what happens next. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to forgive yourself. You are allowed to start fresh, even if no one else understands it. Sometimes the world will try to remind you of who you used to be. It will try to drag you back into an old identity. But you are under no obligation to be the person you were yesterday. Growth means change. Healing means letting go. And freedom means choosing what you believe about yourself. Not based on where you've been, but on where you're willing to go. It's not about pretending the past didn't happen. It's about refusing to let it steal your power. Every time you rise after falling, you are rewriting your story. Every time you choose peace over pain, love over fear, grace over shame, you are creating a new future one decision at a time. There is no expiration date on transformation, no age limit on redemption, no timeline for becoming. Whether it's been 5 months or 50 years, it is never too late to stop living like you're still stuck in a season that already ended. Sometimes we confuse memory with destiny. But just because something happened doesn't mean it has to keep happening. Just because you struggled doesn't mean you're meant to stay broken. You are not cursed. You are not disqualified. You are not beyond hope. You are a living, breathing possibility waiting to believe again. The most powerful stories are not the ones with perfect beginnings. They're the ones where the middle looked messy, but something sacred, changed. You may not feel strong yet. You may not see the way forward, but you are not who you were. Even the fact that you're here, still listening, still reaching, still open, that is evidence that the past did not win. The future is not repeating what has been. The future is created the moment you believe you are more than your history. There is still time, and time is a miracle. It's easy to feel like it's too late, like the moments you lost can never be reclaimed, like the dreams you once held have drifted too far away. But time isn't a finish line. It's a gift. A gift that's still in your hands right now. And as long as you have breath in your body, there is still something waiting for you to become. The clock isn't your enemy. It's your invitation. It's not counting down your worth. It's offering you another chance to begin. People will tell you that your time has passed, that you should figure it out by now, that it's foolish to start over when others are already ahead. But comparison will always lie to you. It doesn't know your journey. It doesn't know what you had to overcome just to stand where you are. Your timeline is your own. Your purpose doesn't expire just because it's taken longer than you thought. Every second, every hour, every day you've been given. It's not random. It's sacred. And what you choose to do with it matters more than how much of it has gone by. We often measure our worth in milestones, by what we've achieved, by what others can see. But real transformation happens in the unseen. In the quiet decisions, the silent prayers, the choice to keep going when quitting would be easier. And those moments, small as they seem, begin to gather power. They begin to build momentum. You don't have to do everything today. You just have to do something. You just have to believe that time, even now, still carries potential, still holds the ability to heal, to rebuild, to birth something beautiful. There's a reason your heart still beats. A reason your story didn't end when it could have. You've been preserved for this very moment. Not because everything has gone right, but because there is still something right ahead. Time has been your witness. Through the storms you've survived, the nights you didn't think you'd make it through, the days that stretched endlessly with sorrow. And yet, here you are. That is not coincidence. That is grace. Time has not run out. The door has not closed. What feels like delay is often just preparation. The world moves fast and we feel the pressure to keep up. But rushing doesn't equal progress. You are allowed to take your time. You are allowed to move slowly, with intention, with awareness, with wisdom. The miracle of time is not just that it moves forward. It's that it allows you to change within it. One day you wake up, and you no longer feel broken in the places you once bled. One day you breathe, and it no longer hurts to hope. One day you speak, and the sound of your own voice no longer carries shame. That's the miracle working, quietly, patiently, faithfully. Time has a way of bringing things full circle. What you lost may return in another form. What you missed may come back multiplied. What felt like the end might turn out to be the very thing that sent you toward a better beginning. The days ahead are not empty. They are filled with possibility. Not because everything is perfect, but because you're still here to shape them. That's where the miracle lies. In the fact that the next moment hasn't been written yet. In the power you have to step into it with intention, no matter what has come before. Let others rush. Let others measure life by what they've accumulated. But you understand now. Time is not a thief, it's a canvas. It's a river, it's a door. And even now it is open. Your pain carries the seed of your power. It may not feel that way when you're in the middle of it, when your heart is breaking, when everything feels heavy and hollow at the same time. Pain can be loud, it can drown out hope, blur your vision, and make you question everything you once believed. But pain, though cruel and unwelcome, has never come to destroy you. It has come to awaken something deeper, something you didn't know was there. The most powerful parts of you are often born from the most broken places. You may not have chosen the pain, but what you choose to do with it. That's where your strength begins. But pain has a strange way of revealing the truth. It strips away the surface, it forces you to look inward, it invites you to wrestle with who you are beneath the masks and the noise. And when you allow yourself to sit with it, to not run from it, to not numb it away, something begins to shift. You begin to see that pain is not just a wound, it's a womb. It births resilience, it births compassion, it births clarity. The people who carry the most light are often the ones who've walked through the deepest darkness. Not because they escaped it, but because they learned how to carry their fire through it. Pain gives you a kind of empathy that can't be taught. It gives you eyes to see others differently. It gives you the ability to stand beside someone who's hurting and say, I know, without needing to fix it. That kind of power is not flashy or loud. It's quiet. It's steady. It doesn't seek attention. It gives it. Your story is being shaped by every tear you've cried, every night you spent in silence, every time you whispered a prayer with no words left. Those moments aren't wasted. They are carving character, building depth, stretching your soul to hold more than you thought possible. You are not weak because you feel pain. You are strong because you still feel, because you still care, because even with the scars you've chosen to stay open. And that openness is power. That vulnerability is strength. Sometimes the world teaches us to hide our pain, to pretend everything's fine, to smile through what's breaking us. But healing doesn't happen in pretending. It happens in truth. It happens when you admit what hurts. It happens when you let someone in. It happens when you give yourself permission to feel without judgment. That is where the seed begins to grow. In the honesty, in the rawness, in the real. You might think your pain disqualifies you. That because you've been through too much, because you've made mistakes, because you still struggle. You have nothing to give. But the truth is, the people who change the world are rarely the ones who've had an easy path. They are the ones who refuse to let their pain define them. They are the ones who turn their suffering into service, their heartbreak into healing, their burdens into bridges for others to walk across. What you've been through is not your shame, it's your soil. And something beautiful is already growing from it. Your power is not in hiding the hurt. Your power is in facing it, rising from it, and using it as fuel. Every time you show up when it's hard, every time you love after being broken, every time you speak truth in a world full of silence, you are turning pain into purpose. And that kind of transformation doesn't just change you. It changes everyone around you. There is a strength inside you now that wasn't there before, not in spite of the pain, but because of it. You are not broken. You are becoming. It's easy to believe that the cracks in your heart, the struggles in your mind, the weight you carry every day mean that something is wrong with you. The world can be quick to label pain as a flaw, to treat struggle as weakness. But the truth is, growth is messy. Becoming the person you're meant to be doesn't look perfect. It doesn't happen in neat, clean lines. It happens in the tension, in the stretching, in the in-between where everything feels uncertain. The parts of you that feel shattered are not signs of failure. They are signs of transformation. You may not see it yet, but something sacred is unfolding within you. What you once thought of as damage may turn out to be the very thing that shapes your greatest strength. You are not a finished product, and you're not meant to be. You are in process, and in that process there is grace. There is space to fall down and rise again, to be confused and still carry purpose, to doubt and still move forward. You're allowed to feel like you're falling apart, even as something inside you is coming together. The world teaches us to chase perfection, to hide anything that feels imperfect, to act like we've got it all figured out. But the truth is, nobody has it all together. Everyone is carrying something you can't see. Everyone is healing from something unspoken. You are not alone in your becoming. And you don't need to rush to arrive somewhere just to feel worthy. Your worth isn't found in achievement. It's found in your existence. In the breath you take, in the love you still give, in the hope you hold on to even when your hands feel empty. The idea of being broken implies that something is ruined beyond repair. But you are not ruined. You are human. You are layered and complex and growing in ways that don't always show on the surface. Sometimes the hardest seasons of life are the ones that shape us the most. Not because they were easy to endure, but because they called something deeper out of us. They stripped away the surface so something true could be revealed underneath. You are not the pieces. You are the mosaic being formed from them. Something more beautiful, more authentic, more powerful than what existed before. When you look at your reflection and only see the flaws, remember this: every scar tells a story of survival. Every wrinkle of doubt is proof that you kept trying. Every line of awareness shows that you loved deeply, felt deeply, lived fully. There is beauty in the wear and tear of life. There is beauty in becoming, even when you don't feel it yet. You are shedding old versions of yourself, not because you were broken, but because you are evolving. Every day, you are learning how to love yourself better, how to speak kinder, how to be present even in pain. You don't need to pretend. You don't need to have all the answers. It's okay to be unfinished. It's okay to be unsure. What matters is that you're still here, that you're still open, that you're still willing to take the next step, even if it's small, even if it's shaky. The process of becoming means you're alive. It means you're still being shaped by something greater than your circumstances. And if you could see what's ahead, if you could feel what's already waking up inside you, you'd know that this season, no matter how painful, is not a period. It's a comma. It's a turning point. It's a sign that something within you is breaking open to let light in. Faith awakens what fear tried to bury. Fear is loud. It shows up in the silence of the night, in the stillness before a decision, in the quiet moments when doubt creeps in and tells you you're not enough. Fear wants you to forget who you are. It wants you to believe that the setbacks you faced are proof that you're finished. It whispers that your dreams are too big, your voice too small, your past too heavy. But faith speaks in a different language. Faith doesn't shout, it doesn't force. It whispers steady and sure, even when everything around you shakes. Faith reminds you that no matter how long something has been hidden, it can rise again. It can live again. Fear buries your potential under layers of hesitation. It convinces you that because you failed before, you'll fail again. That because they left, you'll always be alone. That because you were overlooked, you're invisible. It plants seeds of self-doubt and waters them with insecurity. But what fear tries to bury, faith can resurrect. Faith is the quiet power that dares to say, try again. It is the hand that reaches for the light even in the darkest places. Faith doesn't erase fear. It stands beside it and keeps walking. There is something inside you that fear cannot touch. It may cover it for a while. It may make you forget the strength that lies within you. But it cannot destroy what was divinely placed in your spirit. That seed. Your purpose, your identity, your power. It's still there. Faith is what uncovers it. It's what lifts the weight of shame, the burden of comparison, the paralyzing grip of anxiety. Faith is not just believing in a distant dream. It's trusting that even when you can't see the outcome, the journey still matters. It's holding on when you don't know how the pieces will fit, but believing that they somehow will. Fear tells you to wait until you're confident, until you're perfect, until everything is clear. But faith asks you to move even when your knees shake, to speak even when your voice trembles, to believe even when the evidence says it's over. It takes courage to rise when fear says stay down. It takes strength to open your heart again when fear says protect it at all costs. But every time you choose faith, even in the smallest way, something buried begins to breathe again. Faith doesn't promise that life will be easy. It promises that you won't face it alone. It reminds you that you've come through too much to stop now. That what lives in you is stronger than what's against you. That your story isn't finished, no matter what the chapters behind you look like. When fear tries to convince you that your dream is dead, faith says it's only sleeping. And what sleeps can be awakened. What was buried can bloom. You may not feel strong, but faith isn't about feelings. It's about choosing. Choosing to show up. Choosing to try. Choosing to believe in something more, even when the world tells you less. Fear thrives on silence, on stillness, on you staying small. But faith is action. It's movement. It's rising in the face of resistance. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take one step. Just one. That step is a statement to the universe that you will not be buried by fear. That something greater is alive in you. Something that refuses to stay silent. Something that refuses to stay hidden. Something that, through faith, is coming back to life. This moment is your second beginning. Not tomorrow, not next year, not when everything finally falls into place. Right now. Right here. In the middle of the uncertainty. In the midst of your questions. This very breath holds the power of a fresh start. You don't need to wait for a sign from the sky or for every wound to heal before you take the next step. Life is not waiting to give you permission. You've already been handed something sacred. The gift of now. And with that gift comes the opportunity to begin again, not as who you were, but as who you're becoming. Too often we think a beginning needs to be clean, full of clarity and confidence. But the truth is, most new starts are born out of chaos. They begin when everything feels unclear, when you've been knocked down so many times that standing feels like an act of rebellion. And it is. Rising again is a declaration that the past doesn't get the final word. It's not denial. It's decision. It's choosing to believe that your story is still unfolding, that your purpose has not expired, that there is more waiting for you than what you've left behind. You've been through things that should have hardened you, but instead they deepened you. You carry wounds, but also wisdom. You've lost time, but you gained perspective. And now, with everything you've lived through, you are more prepared than ever to begin again. Not from the same place, not with the same mindset, but from a deeper understanding of who you really are. The pain didn't ruin you. It refined you. It stripped away the surface so you could get honest about what truly matters. It brought you back to the core of your identity. Second beginnings are not born from comfort. They rise from moments where you thought you had nothing left. They are sparked in the stillness, when you realize you are no longer who you were, and yet not quite who you are going to be. That space in between, where you feel suspended between endings and newness, that is where the transformation begins. It is not weakness to be starting over. It is strength to begin again, knowing what it costs, knowing what it takes, and still choosing to go forward. You don't have to know the whole plan. You don't have to have the perfect words or the perfect strategy. All you need is the willingness to take the first step. The next chapter of your life doesn't need to be dictated by the last one. What happened may have changed you, but it didn't cancel the future. In fact, it may have prepared you for it. There are things inside you that haven't even been awakened yet, strengths you haven't tapped into, passions you haven't explored, courage you haven't fully accessed. Every morning you wake up is proof that your purpose is still active. The world may have told you it's too late, that you missed your moment, that the best days are gone. But those are lies built on fear. The truth is, sometimes the best chapters come after the most painful ones. Not because the pain disappears, because you rise with a clearer voice, a stronger heart, a deeper reason. You begin again, not because you have to prove anything, but because you believe there's still more life to be lived. This isn't the end of your story. It's the page you turn with trembling hands and a steady heartbeat. It's where you reclaim your voice, your dream, your direction. It's where the things that once held you back no longer carry weight. You don't have to be fearless to begin again. You just have to be faithful enough to try. Right here, in this moment, with everything behind you and everything ahead, a new beginning is unfolding inside you. Not in the absence of all that's happened, but in the presence of who you've become because of it. You must choose to rise, now. Not when everything makes sense, not when the pain is gone, not when the world finally sees your worth. You rise now, even if your legs shake beneath you, even if your heart still carries the weight of what tried to break you. Rising is not about having it all together. It's about refusing to stay where fear left you, where doubt buried you, where disappointment told you to settle. The decision to rise is not one that waits for the perfect moment. It creates the moment. It happens in the middle of the mess, in the middle of the noise, when your soul whispers, there has to be more than this, and you finally decide to believe it. Life has a way of pressing you down. It tells you to play small, to lower your expectations, to shrink your voice. You are told to wait your turn, to earn your worth, to prove your value. But you don't have to earn what was already placed inside you. You don't have to prove what is already true. You have the power to rise within you, but it will not activate until you choose it. Not with your feelings, not with your fears, but with your will. You rise the moment you say, I will not be defined by what I went through. I will not be limited by what they said. I will not be held hostage by what I lost. Rising isn't loud. It doesn't always look like standing on a stage or winning a battle. Sometimes rising is getting out of bed when your heart feels heavy. Sometimes it's having a hard conversation when silence would be easier. Sometimes it's forgiving when bitterness feels safer. Sometimes it's simply believing in yourself when no one else does. Every time you do something that fear told you not to do, you rise. Every time you choose love over anger, truth over comfort, purpose over popularity, you rise. You may not feel ready. You may still feel tired, uncertain, unfinished. But rising has never required perfection. It only asks for a decision. It only asks for one breath of courage, one heartbeat of faith. Everything that's been waiting for you on the other side of fear begins to move the moment you do. The moment you choose to believe that your voice matters, that your presence matters, that your story matters. Things begin to shift, doors begin to open, strength begins to awaken. You are not here to simply survive. You are here to live fully, to speak boldly, to walk in the truth of who you are. You were not created to be hidden, silenced, or small. That spark inside you, the one that refuses to die no matter what you faced, that's not weakness. That's your strength. It has been waiting for you to give it permission. And that permission comes in the form of one choice: to rise, to stop waiting for the right mood, the right timing, the right audience, and to simply begin now exactly as you are. You don't need everyone to understand your rise. You don't need applause or agreement. You just need to trust that the moment you stand in your truth, even if your voice trembles, even if your knees wobble, something in the atmosphere changes. You were not meant to live beneath your calling, beneath your truth, beneath your identity. There is a reason you feel the pull to do more, to be more, to reach further. That's not pressure. That's purpose. That's the reminder that you were meant to rise and carry others with you as you go. Everything that has led you here, every loss, every lesson, every delay, has prepared you for this choice. Not later, not someday. Now. You rise when you decide you are done sitting in the ashes of what could have been and start building what still can be. You rise when you decide your future is more important than your fear. You rise when you no longer wait to be rescued, but realize you've had the strength all along. Here is a powerful conclusion to tie together the entire speech based on all 8 keynotes. So now, as you stand in this moment, in this sacred pause between who you've been and who you're becoming, remember this: you were born with purpose and fire. That fire is still alive in you, no matter what life has tried to extinguish. You are not your past. You are not what happened to you. You are who you decide to become from this moment forward. There is still time, and time is a miracle. It's not too late, not for your dreams, not for your healing, not for your rise. Your pain has never been pointless. It holds the very seeds of your strength, the roots of your wisdom. You are not broken. You are becoming deeper, truer, stronger. And even when fear tries to bury that truth, who faith is always standing by, ready to awaken what the world tried to silence. Above this moment right now is your second beginning. And beginnings don't require perfection. They require courage. The courage to breathe, to believe, to take just one step forward. And above all, you must choose to rise, not when the storm passes, but you in it. Not when everything feels ready, but when your soul says, now. No, because now is the only moment that matters. Now is where your power lives. Now is where your new life begins.